Let's talk about the top 10 decks that I'm considering playing at Nationals. I have them all pulled up here. I'm known as Chiefs 15 on UVS Ultra. I keep all of my decks public so you can always go and find whatever I'm cooking. Although I have to warn you, most of the time, all of my decks are just half-baked ideas. You know, sometimes I'll just find like 20 cards because I started building, just gave up and never deleted it. But I have this folder here called Nats Decks where I've put 10 deck lists that we can talk about today, where I'm going to go in order of least likely to play at Nationals to most likely to play at Nationals. I'm showing you these lists for a few different reasons. The first reason is I just always welcome feedback. I'm an open book because I'm always assuming that I can learn from other people, especially in this game. You know, I really don't consider myself one of the best players yet. I think I'm a good player, maybe even very good, but I don't think I'm close to like Nathan DeWalt, Tam Cardwell, Andrew Holder, Mitchell Simono, Kevin Broberg, Tim Keefe. You know, I'm not close to like the level of players like that. I've got a long ways to go. So I'm always welcoming feedback and I'm an open book. The other reason is all of these lists are going to be changing in the next 2.5 weeks. I'm going to be going dark on content for this channel and I'm going to be doing a lot of play testing. So none of these lists are going to look the exact same come Nationals. Okay, let's jump straight into it. 10 through 8, I'm just going to say some sort of evil symbol deck. I love the evil symbol right now. I think it has some of the strongest tech pieces in the game for the current meta. Cooperation Offer, Twisty Surroundings, Barrier Shield, Blood Curdle, Evil Gaze, just lots of very, very strong pieces. So, but these lists, I have not put a ton of playtesting in yet, so they're very, very like rough drafts. Let's look at this first one. This is an Evil Overhaul list, completely based around Maximum Overhaul. I love this card, especially on the evil symbol. So this list is based on like loops. You know, we're picking up attacks from our stage, and you notice I have Sticky Balls at a 4x, and there's a good reason for that. It's because Maximum Overhaul loves this card. You use this in conjunction with Amphibious Ambush and Tongue Whip, and you overcome Overhaul's biggest weakness, which is that you're not giving speed to attacks and you're not subtracting speed. So we're just going to stuff their card pool. So if we have like a Sticky Balls on our stage, we can go Tongue Whip, stuff their card pool, flip Sticky Balls, stuff their card pool. Let's just say we play Maximum Overhaul. We build in another, let's say we play something else. Let's say just any sort of other attack. Maybe we can Hand of Confession down that first Tongue Whip. We play Maximum Overhaul as like our third attack. We then pick back up the Tongue Whip. We pick back up Sticky Balls. Free build the Sticky Balls because this just lets you build from your hand, which is nuts. Just free building the Sticky Balls, flip it again, play another Tongue Whip. You just get to these crazy turns where you have put 4 or 5 cards in their card pool very easily. Also, you're keeping your card pool clear because of cards like Amphibious Ambush, Tetra Terror Onslaught, taking advantage of the momentum from Ambush to then use itself twice. What are you going to do? You're going to go and try and grab Tongue Whips to just continue with this card pool stuffing idea. You'll notice I'm playing 3 copies of Bright Future, and that's because we're using 2 copies of Hand of Confession, so we can like build down the Tongue Whip, and then we can Bright Future, get the Hand of Confession out of there and draw a card. Or if like we use Tetra Terror, and then we echo the Tetra Terror and it flips face down, now we can Bright Future it and get it out of there and draw a card. Just all sorts of like ideas, like we're keeping our card pool clean. We're playing a million attacks. We're using Maximum Overhaul to pick attacks up from our stage. You'll notice we got like Reconstruction at a 4x. And it just makes these like silly attack strings. And it plays pretty solid defense, just from being Overhaul mostly. But it's definitely kind of an offensive centered deck. I've got it at like 37% attack ratio. So 65 cards. I always like to have perfectly symmetrical block zones. I know that's silly, but I'm OCD and I can't help it, so just bear with me. Obviously, if you take this list and work on it on your own, you probably don't have this dilemma like my brain does. And then I've got the even deck stability again. I'm OCD. That's just kind of how I am. So that is this list. Very, very fun to play. I don't know if it's quite there yet. I really haven't done a lot of testing on it. I played like several iterations of this list. This is the current iteration. Very, very untested. Just having fun with Maximum Overhaul, Sticky Balls, and Tongue Wet. They are a fun trio combination. Then I have this other Evil Overhaul list, which again, these evil lists are rough drafts, but I really like, again, we're using Maximum Overhaul, but this time we're really focusing on throws like Nebula Stare and Invisible Clasp. Nebula Stare works super well with Maximum Overhaul because it says if this card would be added to your momentum, you may build it face down instead. So you just go ahead and build it, and then you can just pick it right back up later. You can even use Loving Father to stack a Nebula Stare on top of your discard pile, and then you use Nebula Stare to stack a Nebula Stare, and then use Loving Father to grab that into your hand. We're having lots of ways of just like adding damage to throws, like Bench Press, Brute Strength, Larceny, We Became More, Floating, Excited for Blood to draw since throws do damage, converting captured pieces to throws that are going to turn themselves into momentum. We can use that to draw a card, or we can commit it just to put damage onto our throws. That's kind of the idea here, is like we're playing like more disruption pieces, like Challenging the Fakes, Convenient Timing, 3 copies of Barrier Shield, Showdown, Runaway. Playing more disruption pieces because I'm trying to survive longer. The other list was a little more aggressive, play a ton of attacks very, very early. This list is, we're just going to send throws your way. We're going to make them like 10 damage throws and hopefully win the game eventually. All right, that is Evil Overhaul throws. Let's look at like Evil Shigaraki. This is a list I've been playing for a while at locals. It feels really nice. I just love Shigaraki's play style and the card masterminding. You can see it's very similar to my other lists. I don't think there's really anything too much to point out here. I do like this one Needle Stab to discard cards and then feel this sudden Death Assault, making them deal 5 damage and then it removes itself. Feels very, very nice. We're using Brute Strength to give all of our attacks damage. Master's Pride ready itself on Amphibious Ambush. There's some strong ideas here, but I don't think it's Nat's level strong, certainly. And let's jump back. So that was 8 through 10. Let's look at like number 7. I guess that would be like Void Eraserhead. I enjoy Eraserhead. I have when I went to the HLC, I got my XR Eraserhead signed by the voice actor. I've got the 4 Erase promos, so I've always been like looking for a reason to use those cards and to show them off. But I don't have... I've played Eraserhead quite a bit, but not to the point to where I would feel like confident running them in a major event. I would definitely need to do a lot of play testing over the next few weeks. It is a punch package deck, although with some differences, right? I mean, of course, we're using Rejuvenating. Eraserhead gets the free momentum off of it, repeated to ready our stage and just keep going. Hardened Jab is a great... the weakness of Jab is that it's a 3-speed mid-attack. Eraserhead covers that up by making it 5-speed. But I am not playing Rewind Throttle. Instead, I'm playing Blinding Cloth Capture. Reason for that is it's also a high block, but it's a better high block. Throttle is only a 3 damage move. Eraserhead's adding speed, not damage. Throttle is committing an opponent foundation down. Well, a lot of people are playing anti-commit cards right now, like Heroic Assistance, It Can't Be Fixed, just cards like that. It's like all this anti-stun pieces. And Blinding Cloth Capture, instead of committing down the rival foundation that you're scared of, you get to seal it. And I find seal is more powerful than selective committal at the current moment with the current meta. Also, Blinding Cloth Capture is a 3 diff. It's a 3 difficulty attack because it says if you've played an action this turn, this card gets -2 difficulty. You can play it first just to seal down the problematic foundation, or you can just keep it last as a 3 diff. So I like it much, much more than Rewind Throttle for all those reasons. Playing Plummeting Punch just for the deadlock. Binding Kick is because discard momentum, it gets +3 damage. We're always going to have momentum thanks to like Rejuvenating Smash and just everything being fast. If it deals damage, you're drawing a card. We like that. So it's going to be a 6/7 that if it deals, we draw. If they block, they're really going to be committing themselves out. It's also a combo for like Night Watch, the deadlock, to add a combo from your card pool to your hand, and Blinding Cloth Capture as a combo. But other than that, we're just playing punches. Hardened Jab, Hardened Uppercut because it's 9 damage, 5 speed, thanks to Eraserhead. Yeah, we just got the punch package there. Prone to Dry Eyes to feel some damage. The one thing that you'll notice about this list is I'm not playing any 0 diffs on the Void symbol. I kind of took that from watching the Rochester event, Kevin and Tim. Their lists didn't have that many 0 diffs, and Jacob. And it was just like, maybe I'm playing 0 diffs too much, and I should just be playing the better 1 diffs. And so to make up for that, I do have mainly Passionate Guy to build, when I block. But nothing really surprising, I think, in the rest of my list. Unbreakable, so that you can, full block with your Erase. I am playing 2 copies of Nullify instead of Barrier Shield. The reason is because Barrier Shield, you're already getting a lot of speed reduction with Eraserhead. If there was a matchup where I really needed like Barrier Shield, like for example against Jiro running Cannon Blast, I would just side it in. But Nullify feels very, very strong right now, canceling and enhance. So if we look, I'm playing not that many mid blocks because Eraserhead, of course, always has access to mid blocks thanks to Erase. And then again, I like Symmetry. So there you go. That is my Void Eraserhead list. Let's go to let's see. I did Evil, then I went to Void Eraserhead. Who would I put next? Nejire, Shoto, or Murio? Those are kind of the top 3 I'm considering at the moment. I guess let's start with the Nejire lists. Here's my Chaos Nejire list. This is a list that is basically a Dobby 2 list, except Nejire can actually survive if she doesn't kill you on turn 2. Like if Dobby 2 doesn't kill you very, very early on, he just straight up dies because he gets no defense and he's 19 health. Nejire is like basically 30 health, and she gets to subtract 2 speed from everything, but she's only giving 2 damage instead of 3. Not a big difference, so a little bit less offensive firepower, but in exchange for a lot of defense. But here's the list. It's all in the charge package. And you can see that every single attack is a 4 difficulty attack. We are trying to string like crazy. So start out with the Twisting Azure Inferno. This is going to cover up Nejire's weakness of not adding speed. Nejire is going to get it to 6 damage, and then we are going to use Basic Training, Vast Hybrid, or Nejire-chan to get it to 7 damage. And then we're going to play like Freezer Burn, Double Jab Pummel, Meteor Shower, Spiral Wave Surge, all of these attacks that then give bonuses to our future checks, right? That's what we're looking for. Twisting Azure is not going to count. And then we're going to play like 6 attacks, and we're going to do it on like 4 or 5 foundations. We're going to finish off with a Home Run Comet. We're going to give the Home Run Comet Powerful 6, Powerful 7, and then we're going to win the game from there. That's the basic iteration of this list. Forced Quirk Activation to put things into our momentum. Meteor Showers can recur themselves. Meteor Shower feels really good in Nejire when it's 7 damage instead of 5 damage. Vast Hybrid to send itself to our momentum. We have Battle Arena because it's basically 2 foundations. Cremation, which is here basically we can give 3 speed to the finishing Home Run Comet. We can also use it early to get momentum. Nejire plays this pretty well because losing health isn't a huge cost. She's just going to gain it back so she can get a momentum very, very early, which is very nice here. Yeah, so that's the basics of this list. We're just going to play a million attacks, finish off with a Home Run Comet, and win the game. It's felt really, really nice, honestly, playing this deck. The only problem is that if our opponent is really defensive and has the ability to block like 7 times, Nejire, again, she's not adding speed. And so that is that's the downfall, is that all of these are pretty slow. But if you're playing 6 attacks on turn 2, your opponent typically can't do anything about that. All right, let's jump into my life Nejire list. This is the one that I'm much, much, much more actively considering for nationals. Okay, so remember I said Nejire struggles on speed. So we're going to overcome that by playing Tongue Whip, Back Alley Haymaker, Nejire Wave, and Heroic Strike. We're going to do this very, very stun-heavy game plan. And then we're going to give everything speed with Practical Studies until they block. Also has very, very nice Deadlock. And if we need, we can even give things speed with Rescue Completed. So we're overcoming Nejire's biggest weakness. We can play Dual Needle Lunge, which Nejire loves Dual Needle Lunge, losing the 3 health. She's just going to gain 2 of that back whenever she builds at the end of the turn. So you can go like Dual Needle Lunge, into a back alley, stun 2, into a Nejire Wave, discard that Dual Needle Lunge to stun 3, and now you've stunned 5. And then you're just ready to finish them off. The nice thing about the life symbol is you get to draw a lot with Passing the Torch and New Training Method. You can use New Training Method to pick up foundations when you check them, but it's mainly Passing the Torch. That's the weakness of this list, is that I have found it's similar to Life Overhaul in the sense that you're really, really wanting to find Passing the Torch early. Games where you find Passing the Torch early feel very, very much stronger than games where you find it late or don't have it. Because I always feel like I have the stage to just block as many times as I want. It's just a matter of, do I have the cards in the block zones in hand? That's all I really need. The big benefit to this list is Nejire is giving everything 2 damage. You can string out pretty well thanks to repeated 100% smash. And the life symbol just has a lot of +1 damage things. Tight-lipped, floating, self-sack, full-on attack mode, bench press. We are just giving everything tons of damage. Bench press gets turned on by either Dual Needle Lunge or just cutting yourself if you're at full health, which happens quite a lot because, this list is pretty darn aggressive. You can kill on turn 2, turn 3 pretty easily here. So you're just adding all these +1s, but pretty soon you say Nejire +2. Tight-lipped +1, floating +1, full-on attack mode +1, bench press +1. Now you've added 6 damage onto your attack, and you're going to do that on every single attack. And that just all stacks up. Also, Dual Needle Lunge, sending itself to its momentum, feels repeated because then you can use it for EX or Powerful. Repeated is a great way to take down their release. All you have to get it to is 10 damage, and then you can just turn off your opponent's releases. Probably the best defense in the game. We also have Stumbling Style to destroy and re-ready. Some encouraging training partners for the, to have a reset. Faith Shield, Blood Eval to draw a card again. We really want to draw. So New Training Method, Passing the Torch, and Blood Eval feels like enough draw. And then again, Symmetrical Block Zones. And there you have it. I have been loving this list. It's been feeling really powerful. It really combines like the Nejire lists that aren't playing punches and then the punch Nejire list. And this is like a fusion of those, right? We've got Nejire Wave, Tongue Whip, and Dual Needle Lunge that aren't punches. And then we have Heroic Strike, Back Alley Haymaker, and Repeated. Nice thing is Dual Needle Lunge just kicks itself out of the card pool, so that doesn't get in the way of Repeated. All right, that is Life Nejire. That is strong consideration right now. Then we got Water Shoto. This is basically just the list that I topped with in Florida during season 1 of this year. It's a very aggressive Shoto Todoroki list. It's only playing 63 cards. The reason for that is because you're really trying to win on turn 4, and it's also focused on low attacks. You're going to throw 5 low attacks at them on turn 4, and you're going to be giving 9-10 damage to them all, and you just kill them all there on that one turn. It's just a matter of living to that turn, which is pretty easy because Todoroki gets really strong defensive disruption. On his face, he's getting to cancel things. I'm playing another Nullify, a Cheerleader to flash things. We have a lot of speed hate between Rescue, Stalking Her Prey, Ice Gliding, Tape to make things mid, Wall Cling, and Faith Shield so that we can block throws and that we always have the block zones in hand. Struggling with Studies to pick something back up. Ice Storm to say Breaker 2. Coda to say Breaker 2. We just get a lot of really nice defensive pieces on here. And I've been finding that Shoto Todoroki is very, very strong against Overhaul in particular. Just gets to outplay the long game with them. And then he feels strong against like Recovery Girl, where he can easily deal 40 or 50 in one turn, and he doesn't have a problem blocking throws. The downside to Shoto Todoroki right now is like if Rappa just plays 7 attacks, I've got 20 health. On turn 2, I'm not going to have the defensive pieces on stage to deal with that. Although I can turn off, whatever Rappa's best thing is, getting the momentum early, canceling a bullet punches. You can still do pretty strong things, but it does feel scary against like good Jiro and like Fire Rappa and things like that, of just blowing you up early. But most of the time I actually find you can survive. Water Symbol is just very strong on defense. The main set 5 changes I made is just putting in Human Garbage. I kind of don't like this card in general, but in Todoroki it feels really nice because Todoroki has to commit to add the damage, and then Human Garbage gets to re-ready itself, which can just make all the difference on the lethal attack string. Also, it's like a tiny piece of stun hate, and Water really struggles for stun hate. And then I added in Stalking Her Prey, and I took out the... I had a card in here that was Drowning in Resentment. It was basically just meant for Ojiro too, because he was going to use that card to pull something out of his discard, and Back Alley Haymaker too. But yeah, I took it out here to put in Stalking Her Prey, and that is Todoroki. I should say the hidden best card in this deck is Ice Slide Tackle, because it is amazing throw hate. You get to block 0 gravity lift and full block it. Deals no damage. You get to block things like Hardened Frenzy, which says if it's completely blocked, it builds down. You say, I'll half block it, but it still deals no damage. Just love Ice Slide Tackle. So even though you see 17, 25, 21, Ice Slide Tackle is really 4 here, which makes it 21 down across the board. Yeah, there you have it. We are playing things that re-ready because we want most things to be 4 diffs, Piercing Thorn Lances to throw things into momentum, which can either fuel a bigger Ice Storm, or you can use like Refreshing Slice to re-ready itself. Just, yeah, lots of ideas along those lines. Then I have a Shoto Todoroki list that is much bigger. This one is 96 cards. This was inspired by Carson Panos. He has like a 100-plus card deck that he made top cuts with at Gen Con. I highly encourage you to go check out his deck. It is very, very neat. But he got me thinking, like, maybe I should be playing a Todoroki that is much more comfortable in the long game, because my aggressive Todoroki deck, it's like it wants to leave you, it wants to either kill you by turn 4 or it wants to leave you on life support because he's going to cycle. But as long as you're on life support, it doesn't matter that he's not adding damage at that point. He just has to do like 5 or 6 damage. It's just he has this clock that's ticking a lot faster. And this deck can really take its time, can just play really, really strong defense and just wait for the right moment. The benefit here, since we are going to 90 plus cards and we're willing to play a longer game, I've added in a ton of Deadlock with Crystal Darts. This feels incredible with Todoroki, because if they go into Deadlock and you have like 60 cards in your discard pile, this is a 15 high 15 on face, and then you're going to make it a 15 high 25. And that's going to be your starter. Like, hey, this is a 15 speed damage attack for your entire life total. By the way, you're going to commit out to block this, and everything is getting 10 damage this turn from Todoroki. Grasping Tape Toss is incredible Deadlock to add 2 foundations to the bottom of their deck. Massive Flash Freeze to say the next check to play an attack passes. Also, it's just nice that this is a 3 difficulty attack in Todoroki. And then I added in Kraken. I added in Graceful Maneuvers, First Villain Encounter again for the Deadlock, Feeling Cue for speed, Observant Student for Deadlock. There's not a lot of ways to activate it. You get like Struggling with Studies to activate it. Tape I took to a 4 of. I love the Foundation Gotcha because you commit it with Todoroki and then it gives it +1 speed. Yeah, took Rest Completed to a 4. This is just a Todoroki that's willing to play the long game. I've been having a lot of success on this list, and I am very, there's a strong possibility I'm playing this at Nationals. If I'm not playing it in the main event, I'm definitely going to be playing some iteration of this in the Teams Constructed event or just on the side. Absolutely love this deck, having a ton of fun with it. And that is going to do it for Todoroki. So I believe my only decks left are Murio. I've done a deck profile on this. I called it like Defend Your Honor. I did like a fun thing where I played someone in the community 5 games against Life Overhaul because I wanted to prove that Murio wasn't a bad matchup. That Overhaul wasn't a bad matchup for Murio. So I talked about this deck in there. I really haven't changed it much. I really haven't played with it much since then. It's just a 65 card deck Murio. that is very comfortable playing slower, has a lot more deadlock threats, and takes its time. It's not an aggressive Murio, although it can be aggressive if it draws the right hand. That's what I love about this list so much, is how versatile it is. It can kill you fast, it can kill you slow, and it's got very, very strong defense for a multitude of situations. And then you can sideboard in like Repel Strikes and Unrivaled Combatants. I found that Repel Strike is just awesome for breaking through massive walls, just basically being stun 3. Very, very nice, and builds itself down if they're in deadlock. But I'm not going to talk a lot about this list because I already did in a different video, and it hasn't changed that much. I've made a few changes, not that many changes. And then I have this aggressive Good Murio list. If you remember, like, let's just find here, let's duplicate this. Let's duplicate this and go look for the list that I made top cuts with for the webcam event. Oh, here I am. Okay, so this is the list that I made top cuts with for webcam. It was very, very aggressive, 52 cards, 18 attacks, playing Haymaker, but the main engine of the deck was Rejuvenating Smash and Raiding. Just if we have a Raiding the Villain's Hideout on board, we get to discard, and then we're going to get the momentum from Rejuvenating. What can we spend the momentum on? A card pool clear with Capture Evildoers, and we can just keep going. Or we can Phantom Threat to get the momentum, clear with Capture Evildoers, or it's just a 7-speed attack. And yeah, if you go Back Alley Haymaker, Stun 2, into a 7-speed Rejuvenating Smash, that deals some serious damage. But I was being pretty respectful on defense. Like I was playing Cheerleader and Lost in Thought. I was sideboarding in You're So Obvious constantly. I was only playing, I was playing To the Rescue and Lost in Thought for board control. I was only playing 2 copies of Lemillion of the Big Three and 2 copies of Phantom Threat. And I wasn't playing any Unrivaled Combatant. And I came into 2 matchups against Eraserhead and really struggled because he would just turn me off, and then I can't get the Phantom Threat into momentum. Then I can't get the Capture Evildoers. And yeah, I was struggling there. Overall, it felt really, really nice. Of course, I made top cuts. I scrubbed out in top 16. So it wasn't like that amazing, but did very well for me during Swiss rounds. Then I became really disenchanted with like Hardened Jab, unless you were running like the 8 jab list from, I believe, Caleb Larson, where he's also running like 4 Lost in Thought and the BMI Buster. Like, unless you're running like a list like that, I kind of fell out of love with this card and started wanting to do Rewind Throttle instead, because you still get to discard 1, draw 1, but you're also getting to commit down one of their pieces, which I'm playing Rewind Throttle in my Respectful Murio list. So if we go back to this list, you can see I'm playing Rewind Throttle instead of Hardened Jab, because it just felt like, man, playing Valiant Assault and playing Hardened Jab is just too greedy. So it might surprise you that my aggressive list of Murio right now is right back where I started on Hardened Jab and Valiant Assault. The reason is because my webcam list was playing Respectful. High value targets, Cheerleader, Lost in Thought. This is just going full disrespect mode. I'm going to slaughter you, is basically this list. You can see we have gotten rid of the Back Alley Haymaker. We have replaced it with 2 more Phantom Threat and 2 We've also gotten rid of Texas Smash. And we've added in, instead of Texas Smash, we're playing Calorie Counter. And then instead of the Back Alley Haymakers, we have put in just more Phantom Threats. So we have 18 cards in a flat 50 card list that is a 36% attack ratio. It's pretty high. It doesn't need to be higher because we're drawing attacks like crazy, but thanks to Rejuvenating and Valiant both drawing us 2. Phantom Threat draws us like half the time, and then Hardened Jab is drawing from your stage, which sometimes can be something thanks to mail bonding. Because we don't have any Back Alley Haymakers, we don't have to play a lot of 0 diffs. So I'm only playing 2 or 4 copies of 0 diffs in this. And then I've got a lot of 1 diffs here. Unrivaled Combatant at a 4 of, mail bonding at a 4 of, because we are trying to win early. So this enables us to build very, very quickly. And it also helps our Hardened Jabs because hopefully we're building down attacks. 4 copies of Destined for Major Success and 2 Self-Sacrifice to add damage. First Impressions, 4 copies of Lemillion of the Big Three, 4 copies of Raiding the Villain Hideout. So I've really taken it up by taking 2 copies of Phantom Threat to 4, 2 copies of Lemillion of the Big Three to 4. I just want to see Lemillion of the Big Three every single game on turn 1. I want every single turn 1 to start, build rating, build Lemillion of the Big Three, build Unrivaled Combatant, and then just from there on. If I get that kind of build, I just win the game, is how it feels. I know that, listen, I've played hundreds of games with Murio, and I know when you look at this list, there's a lot of things that look dumb about it. You think, now, wait a second, I got to add in Texas Smash. I got to add in Back Alley Haymaker. What is this Foundation First Impressions doing here? Unrivaled Combatant, flip for just +1 speed. This is a ridiculous deck, and just immediately start tearing apart. But I promise you there's reasons for this. Phantom Threat is it's going to seem like this is a greedy list and we're only playing 3-speed attacks, but it's not greedy at all. In fact, it's extremely, extremely fast. So here's what you every turn you're starting with Phantom Threat. Phantom Threat gets a speed every time you give it a damage. First thing you're going to do is use your First Impressions. You're going to give it 3 damage, and you're going to respond for a speed. So this is basically +1/+3. If they block it, your next attack is +3 speed. So now your Valiant Assault or your Hardened Jab is not 3 speed, it's 6 speed because they blocked your Phantom Threat, which is going to be really hard for them to block your Phantom Threat because it's going to be super fast but it's also, they're going to have to block it because it's for like 15 damage, because you're going to flip First Impressions, give it that damage. You're going to use Murio, you're going to give it damage. You're going to use Rating, you're going to give it damage. On each of these, you're responding for speed. You're going to use Self-Sack, you're going to give it damage. You're going to use Lemillion of the Big Three, you're going to give it damage. You're going to flip Unrivaled Combatant and change its zone again. Then you're going to use Lemillion of the Big Three again for damage. Now you've used all 3 of these on just this one attack. Pretty soon, this Phantom Threat is a 12 low for 15. They basically have to block it at that point. They're going to commit themselves out to block with it. It's going to add itself to its momentum, so it clears our card pool, goes to our momentum. And what are we going to follow up with? We're going to follow up with a Rejuvenating Smash. Now, if we want to, we have a momentum there, and this is a 7-speed Rejuvenating Smash. It already is a 7 because they blocked with First Impression, so it comes in with 3. We're going to use Rating. We're going to get a momentum. We're going to discard a momentum. Pretty soon, this is a 10-speed Rejuvenating Smash. It's also coming at you for like 12 damage. If you block this, I'm going to follow up with a Calorie Counter, and now it comes in on just a 4. And then, Jab and Assault really are just the cleanup cards. But the combination of Phantom Threat and Rejuvenating Smash absolutely obliterates people's defenses. It just feels incredible. You're going from a 15-speed attack to a 10-speed attack. Both of them are like just crazy amounts of damage. Feels very, very strong. And Unrivaled Combatant just dunks on Eraserhead because Eraserhead tries to say, no, turn off your character. You're not putting that Phantom Threat in your momentum. And then you say, well, I have Unrivaled Combatant. I still am. It also dunks on cards like Twisty Surroundings, Changing the Zone, Cooperation Offer, Tape, especially when they change it back to a mid. You just flip Unrivaled. So there's a lot of, it's a counter to a lot of counters that people run to Murio. I started running it at a 2x, then I thought I need to have this card at a 3x, and now I'm like, I need to have this card at a 4x. I want to see this card every single time. And even if nothing else, it's at least like +2/+1, because if you use it on a Phantom Threat, you flip, you change its zone, you give it a speed, and then you get to use this an extra time, which is going to give it a speed and a damage. So that's basically this list in a nutshell. I think there's some things I could do, like maybe Schoolyard Smackdown. Maybe Texas Smash does deserve a spot. Texas Smash is just 11 damage. Basically what this list is looking to do is pummel them, maybe not kill them on turn 2, but leave them with like 10 or less health to a point to where they have to block all your moves the next turn. And then your next turn, you're going to make all those super fast attacks. They're going to commit out, and then you're just going to clean them up. So yeah, that is this list. Downside to this list is it's 26 high blocks on 50 cards. Only 12 mids and 12 lows. So that, all of Murio's best cards are high blocks. Rating, Lemillion, Unrivaled Combatant, Phantom Threat, Valiant Assault, Hardened Jab. That's just, there's no getting around it. It is what it is. If you're playing a Murio like this, just know that they're always going to have the high zone, but not any lows or mids. So that is it for this. It's just a very, very aggressive, completely disrespectful Murio list. If you play, it just murders people, and it's feels fun to play, and it's quite easy to play too. So there you go. There are my 10 lists. I'm thinking through something with evil. I really like the idea of Tongue Web, Amphibious Ambush, Maximum Overhaul with the sticky balls, and Bright Future, and just doing fun things like this. Feels very, very strong. There's a lot of playtesting to do with it. I really like the idea of Life Neji with a very, very stun heavy and speed package and tons of +1 damages. It's been feeling solid. And of course, I love Shoto Todoroki 1. This would give me an excuse to, let's see here. Yeah, it'd give me an excuse to play with this guy and play with my Chrome Rare. So that would be a lot of fun to sleeve up the Chrome Rare and go to Nationals with it. Yeah, those are the lists I'm thinking of. Void Eraserhead just feels incredibly strong right now. And then, yeah, full disrespect, Murio. He's a good turn your brain off character that can just pummel people. So those are the lists that I'm currently at. Again, I'm going to be doing a ton of iterations, a ton of play testing. Whatever deck I play for Nationals is probably not going to look anything like these 10. This is just kind of where my brain is at for now. I know I could be playing like Earth Nomu, Air Jiro, Good Jiro, but those characters just don't really interest me. These are all characters that I actually find pretty fun to play. And ultimately what matters to me, this is going to sound so cliche, but like what matters is that you're having fun at Nationals, because if you're not having fun, you make all sorts of dumb mistakes because your heart's just not in it. You have to play a character that you're really like feeling a connection with, and a deck that you're really feeling a connection with, because then your brain is going to be 100% tuned in. You're going to be thinking through every situation. If you're enjoying the character, you're going to practice a lot more with the test, and ultimately practice is what really matters for a big event like Nationals. It's going to be very, very taxing on your brain to go through the 9 rounds. And yeah, so you want to make sure that you're having fun and you're fully invested in your list. So that's why I've chosen these 10. You know, I love 7-handers. I love Todoroki, Nejire, Shigaraki 3, Eraserhead. Murio's just been a lot of fun to play for me. And Overhaul, I don't have a lot of fun on Overhaul, but you know what I do have fun with? His new attack, Maximum Overhaul. It's just, it does a lot of silly things in a very strong way. So there you have it. I will be back tomorrow with how to beat Jiro.